In this video, we're talking more NBA player props, and I got a special guest with me. So lace them up, ladies and gents. Y'all motherfuckers, when they get some free tips, best bets, go ahead and flex some. Pick winners all the time, hit it on a daily. This is all free, you don't even have to pay me. Yo, it's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I got a special guest with me, Tips with T. Talal, what did you think of my introduction, bro?
It's good, man. You rap, you bet, you interview, you do it all, man. The skills. I like it.
I did it as a bit of a funny one time, and I actually got told it's all right. So you should keep it up there. So I'm keeping it up there. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's punchy, it's quick, and we're into it.
So today we're talking NBA player props. I've asked you to join us today. You're somebody that I've actually followed for quite a few years now. I've learned a lot from you, and you probably don't even know it just from watching your work. We've got quite a few people in the chat tonight. So for those of you who are in here live, I encourage you to jump to the comment section, smash all the questions through, and we'll hit him with the hard ones. But before we get to some questions, T, tell us a bit more about you as a punter.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Punting wise, man, I love it. I love punting, but basically, I really love the process of working to find bits. I really find that enjoyable. And then once I've found the bits, then I write them just like every other person, but I try not to get too high when we win or too low when I lose. Just try to stay focused and then move on to the next day and start that process of finding bits. Yeah. But I love it. I love this game, man. It's done a lot for me, and thanks for having me on too. And thanks for following me, bro.
It's been a long time. Now you're one of I would say the very few, especially within this country, who's running premium service, and I would call it a legitimate premium service. Tell us about that, the premium service, whether you're still providing it.
It was good, man. So basically, I was testing out. I really went hard with my betting in that bubble season, 2019-20. Won a lot of bets, tracked it all, and then I was like, look, man, I got something that I think is going to be of value to people that solves a problem or that can help people solve a problem, that can be winning bets and making money betting. Then I ran a service, was selling it through various groups like the Scopes and a few other places. I made good relationship with people. And then sold tips. Yeah, it was good. That first season, we were up big, maybe 300-400 units. And then second season, down 100. So that wasn't too good. Yeah, that was tough. And then now I'm just doing it for free. Trying to give just as much as possible while I can, at least until December. And then I'll make a reassessment about, I've got a few things going on outside of betting. I'll still bet, but whether I have enough time to get on socials and this and that and send bets, I'm not sure. But until that time, I just want to send as many winning bets as I can to as many people as possible. Yeah, so that's for free. That's on my Telegram channel. Yeah.
I guess that's why we're so aligned, especially at this current moment in time. So we've got a free Discord. T's in that Discord. The link for that Discord is in the description, but I've also put the link in for T's Telegram group. You can join that. Like you said, it's free. You'll make a decision in December. Just killing it right now. You're a real modest guy, I'll tell you that. But do you want to, I guess, flex your biggest win, like a proudest achievement that you have in the game?
Proudest achievement. Oh man, like I can remember my best win, and this is what sort of kicked me off in this. It was like the 1920 bubble season. Before that, I was just punting like on things that I knew, like local basketball and NBA here and there. But I would always bet like $20, $50. But I would get say $1,000, and then I'll withdraw it and I'll spend it. Like I'll be in places spending for my family, like buy dinner and this and that. But then there was this one bet, and basically the moral of the story is just be open to opportunities. Okay, like don't think that anything's impossible. So I read this article. It was about the Houston Rockets playing the Philadelphia 76ers. It was like the last game of the season. D'Antoni said he was going to rest the starters the second half. That's what he said in the article. Then I went on Sportsbet, and there was a market. Philadelphia 76ers to win by 31 plus was playing 300 to 1, and I put $50 on it. and they got up, man. I was cheering so hard for like Raul Neto and like these deep bench guys for the Sixers to just put them away, and they did. And then I made 15 grand that day, and that was my biggest win at that time. But it was more than like 10 times my previous biggest win. So therefore, I took like half of that money and I bought a solar on the house, and then the other 7 I turned into another bankroll, and I did it instead of taking it out to have dinners and this and that. I just put it in there, and then I started betting hard the rest of that season and really tracking what I was doing. And then that's how I knew, oh man, if I manage my money properly, I can really do something with this, you know. And I guess it's not to flex, because anyone could do that. Anyone that's open to those possibilities could have seen that particular message from D'Antoni and put, you know, it's like 1 + 1 = 20, but like, you know, could have put those like little factors together and then figured out that bet at 300 to 1, I'm probably going to lose my $50, but it's better than 300 to 1. That's what I think anyway. And I turned out, you know, oh, that time I was right, but I'd be willing to lose that bet 100 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I was thinking about it.
Yeah, no, most def. It's a good bet. You saw the value, sprinkled on it. You got the cookies. Let's shift gears. Let's talk a bit more about betting. So you're one of the very few people that I know has been banned or restricted, limited from bookies. I guess, can you tell us about why that happens, and is there a way that can be avoided?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. But yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Like the laws, they don't have to take a bet. They don't have to take your bet. That's just how things are. And once you're banned at first or restricted, I was like pissed off. I was like, "What? You won't even take a $1 bet?" Getting angry now. But once I looked into it, like people have taken them to court in that, and they all lost, right?
Yeah.
The bookies are well within their rights to knock you back, right? So, yeah, like my grandmother, there's someone, rest in peace, I respect her very much. She just told me every day, like, you know, you know what you got to do, you just do it, you know? So to me, that means you just figure out what you got to do. If they knock you back, man, find the back door. Like, do what you can do to come out on top. Yeah.
No, that's mad. I'm sure we're going to get heaps of questions in the chat, but this next one, you could probably give us 1,000 answers. But I want to talk through the common mistakes that bettors make on the NBA. I know you're the man giving out a lot of tips, but I've seen you very active through the socials, so you've probably seen a lot of bad ones out there. Are there any common mistakes that you've seen that people make, especially when betting on the NBA?
Probably just the most common one I see is too many legs. Like, it's like a big list, maybe like 10 different things, and any one of them would seem quite likely or probable to hit. But when you factor in things like foul trouble, injuries, blowouts, like all these things that happen in NBA games, I really feel like if you're going to play like that, it might be better off if you just found 1 to 5 leagues that you really like, or you found 1 league that you really like and bet more to achieve that same result. But I mean, each to their own, man. Like, I can't, like, if I see someone's bet like with 10 or 20 leagues, I'm never gonna jump on there and go ship it. Like, you know, like that's their work. That's up to you. Like, if you want to do it that way, I wish you all the best, you know. But that's would be one piece of advice that I would share, is just figure out what's the best of this, like say 10 options, and just pick 3 or 5 or 1 and put like a significant, like a bit more of your bankroll on.
Show some confidence in that single pick, you know?
Yeah, like just pick 1, because there's like I said, man, you can't you can't like overlook injuries, foul trouble, blowouts, like changes to rotations and whatnot. So if you look at someone's average and say it's 8 rebounds, and so you think, oh yeah, 6, I'll pick 6 because that's safe. But little do you know, 30% of the time they hit 4, and then 30% of the time they hit 10, and then the rest is in the middle where they hit 6 to 8. So it's like, you know what I mean, eh? Like
Yeah.
that's why you think it's safe, but it's never like.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what's dangerous about that style of betting, right? These types of bettors who pick a lot of legs, and a lot of them are, $1.20s or whatever it may be. These are the types of people who are always like, oh, it was only one leg, right? There's only one leg, only one leg. And when you're only one leg, it gives you confidence. Like, I can get this because one unpredictable thing happened today. But I guess the other thing I think about when I think of heaps of legs is, the juice that the bookie takes every time you add a leg.
Yep.
There's more and more juice being taken from you. So the actual probability of you landing that bet is a lot lower than the odds suggest. So
that's very true. So if you're playing across different players or across different games, unless you can get that juice in your favor if you've got positive expected value bets, but to find 10 of those in one day, like it's going to be pretty tough. It's not impossible, but it's going to be like,
especially on the same book, that's going to be hard.
Exactly. It's going to be like, you might be able to find 10. Yeah, on a big day of NBA, you'll be able to find one every game for sure, but it'll be probably spread out. You're very unlikely to find it all in one place, but if you do, good on you. Hey, bro, I didn't ask you. Have you shared your best bet on here?
My best bets were actually Megan and Lucky.
Oh, okay.
Check this out. We're talking about heaps of legs, right? When I started this Discord group and everything, it was March last year. And by then, I had this big thing on data, and I was looking through all these numbers. And I wanted to build some publicity, get some more followers. So what I did is I put this post out on Facebook into heaps of groups before they kicked me out of them. But I put this post out saying, I've done analysis on the last 20 games for every single player that's suiting up tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And these are the legs that have hit at 100% of the time.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking like, I think I was like 60, 70 legs this multi. Like, it was a centipede. You know what I mean? And I think it was paying like $128. But based off that thought process, the last 20 games, these hit 100% of the time. I put it out there. And a lot of people followed, and it came up and it won.
Bro, that's wild.
There was one guy, I think he threw hundreds at it. He won like heaps. Like, it was huge. So then I was able to share that winning slip alongside with the tip and the bet. Then everyone just started flooding in. So I know I got lucky. But if I would have shared, hey guys, I got 3 player props. These are positive EV. I'm confident in taking them. Looked at the matchups. Like, that's not going to get me any attention. So
that's pretty wild. But in a way, that's like the one time where it's like, okay, you studied.
Yeah.
You studied 120 things. You know what I mean? Like,
we got one person who remembers it. Your snake multi.
Oh.
It was a snake. So, and I've actually, hit a few of these in different sports, and now when I do them, it's only for bonus bets. It's for the laughs. It's not a serious part of my betting. It's not part of the strategy, but I like to throw them out there because I do a lot of analysis. I'm talking like 3 hours a night. I go through every player and everything. So you have that much confidence making these selections. So I guess that's one thing that really comes to mind for me. We do have a question for you though, T.
Oh, yeah.
Smash Head Man. If you have a small bankroll, what do you recommend to build it up so you can actually make some life-changing money?
That's a good question, man. Like I said, a couple of mine at the start were just like luck. But, not luck. I was open to opportunities and I bet on them, But what I would recommend is don't be scared of the odds, okay? If you see something at 100 to 1 and you think it's value, bet on it, okay? Because there are people that are really, really wealthy from punting and they bet, 5 figures, 6 figures, $1 million on head-to-head matchups and this and that. Really, really good at it, right? You're not going to be able to do that tactic if you haven't got that much money. So don't be scared of odds being like $100 or 10 to 1. But those 10 to 1 or that 100 to 1, if you think in your mind it should be 50 to 1, then it's a great bet. Just back it. You're going to lose your money a lot of times, but when it hits, you're going to get paid really well, and then your bankroll will start to increase, and as it starts to increase, then start to increase your stakes. And likewise, if your bankroll decreases, just decrease your stakes. That way, you're not having to fork out your hard-earned cash every. You're just playing with money that you've already won or lost. It's just in your bankroll already. Yeah. Thanks for the question, man. And good luck.
Best of luck. Yeah, what I did was I've already been trying to educate everybody in this, and it's how you use your bonus bets. There's a lot of promos, there's a lot of offers from a lot of the bookies, and I've done the math for a lot of people, and it's simple. You throw your bonus at big odds.
Yeah.
So, and I've done that, and it's landed for me quite a few times. I think in the NRL, I won a $12,000 bet. I won 12,000 off $100, just a bonus bet. They gave me one every week, so I chase some long odds, and that's what I encourage everyone to do. Like, you already lost your bet. That's a bonus one. You might as well not try to get your money back with it. Chase long odds, because you probably wouldn't do that with your hard-earned cash. And that's how I built my bankroll. I used to run with 1,000. Now I've got a $10,000 bankroll.
Yeah.
So
that's great advice, man. Those bonus bets. I'd advise the same thing. Obviously, if number one, don't really try to bet with cash that you think you're going to need if you're trying to build it up. Because when you make withdrawals too, I think that can sort of flag your account. So if you're making, to go to Granddad, you think it's nothing, but or take out $200, $500, whatever it is. But that can start to, number one, eat away at your bankroll. Number two is could flag your account. But that's a nice way to use your bonus bets, is just put them on something with high odds. Actually, that $300, I've got a couple of strategies that come to mind for smashed head. Was it smashed head, man?
Yeah.
I've got a couple of strategies. Number one is there's a thing, BetR now. And on Saturdays, they've got double bet back up to $100 in bonus cash if your horse runs top 5. Okay? So I follow this guy, Brad Davidson's his name. You might see him on Tab Sky Racing. He does his own tips, but I bought his tips specifically for this purpose, so I can have his form ratings and his Saturday preview at Randwick. Anyway, so what I do is I take that, and then I'll put, say there's 10 races, I'll put 500 into the BetR, and then I'll just bet on each of his picks, like at the price. So I've got 10, right? Then, chances are he's a good tipper, so a lot of them will win. And the ones that don't will run top 5. So I'm going to get $100 bonus cash back for my 50. So I've been doing that for 2 weekends. It's been pretty good.
Hey,
so BetR,
that's a tip right there.
Might be an easy way to just quickly up your bankroll. They don't have NBA player props, but they have other sports markets, and they have NBA same game multi. So that's fine. I'll bet on those. I can bet on those and win. But that's one thing. Probably a really good thing to do to up your bankroll is to use promotions to your advantage, and then so try and win bets, number one. And if you can't, boom, use the bonus cash like Dan says at odds. I'd back that. I'd recommend just use the bonus cash at odds rather than.
No, that's an awesome tip. I think I might be doing the same thing.
Bro. Take out $1,000. Ask them for a bonus match. They'll probably give you 1,000.
Yeah.
And then take that 500 and go across. There's like 10 races, top 5, bonus back up to $100 in bonus cash. So either you're going to win, or top 5 and you get 100 bonus cash. And if it's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're going to lose your $50. But if you're all right even if you're not all right, so I'm not all right, so I'll go and find someone who is, and then pay him, and then now I got all his stuff.
Yeah. No, that's mad. That's awesome. We got someone who's also doing the same thing. How about Abuse Better on Saturday? 5x my money and took away $800 in bonus bets. So
Hobo, that's the ticket, brother. I love it. Well done. That's it. That's put your $1,000 in. If you know about horses, cool. Do it. You can do it yourself. If you don't, go and get Brad Davidson or Gator or Sonny or there's a few guys that have got talent that do this, and then just follow their stuff, and good on you, man.
Speaking of Hobo, he's got a question for you. So, what is your best tips to hold yourself accountable? So,
Tips to hold myself accountable. So I like to reassess at the end of each day. Um, like just look at the bets, if they won or lost, and if it was a good bet, and if I put work into it beforehand, that I didn't do anything just random or outside of the work, the things that I worked through to find a bet. Like if I'm supposed to call someone, did I call them? Did I send a message to someone? Did I check the statistics from the last 10 games, the last 100 games, the last 300 games? Did I look at the matchup data? Like, did I do all the things I was supposed to do? And then if I did, it should be sweet. And I can take as many losses as I can. But if I was just doing random things and then, I won, even if I won or lost, I'll still go through that process of did I work hard at this? Yeah. If that's what you mean. Yeah.
You also have like a rhythm and routine to your betting, right? Like you kind of place them all. You're not like halfway through, like, oh, my bets are shit, I'm going to chuck more on. You kind of.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
Like you place your bets, do your research in the morning, place all your bets, and you just let them ride out, regardless if it's win or lose. You're not going to go chasing it throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Like some people, especially some of the followers, they'll message me like they're writing the bets quite hard. They're really invested. I'm really invested in the bets, but they'll ask about stuff like cash out and this and that. And I'll be like, once I've made my decision at the start, there's almost nothing like midway through the bet, unless a guy gets like injured, for example. If it's like an injury, if I see a guy get injured, I'll quickly go to try and cash out on the bet. But it's really hard to sort of transfer that information in a live sense, unless it's at like half time. So for the most part, once I've made a bet on like a same game multi or a player prop, I just ride that bet all the way through because I've already done the work, and then I let the cards fall where they may. If it's something like a futures bet or like a longer term bet or a bet where say I've got some money on a team and then this player's injury news out, then I might be like, okay, I better cash out because I don't. If you know what I mean. Yeah, but for the most part, I just do my work either at night. I just look into things, and if I can find some early value, I'll do it then. And then in the morning again, depending on how many games there are, that tells me what time I'll get up and start. Like, just looking through things.
Yeah. All right, we got more questions. They're starting to come in. Do you ever find yourself getting promo banned by abusing them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
didn't you recently get banned on Tab?
I got banned on Tab for using the multiplier, bro. You put the multiplier on my thing, man. Like, what do you want? Like, that was just the other day. Well, I don't know. I think I've won a few sets on Tab, and then they're like, oh, no more multiplier. But the multiplier was probably only worth like $300 or $400 at that point in time, I guess. But Dude, how about yourself? I think like no matter if they see you winning on promos a lot, you're gonna catch a ban, and depending on because they have algorithms and whatnot. So if all you did was bet on promos, your account will just be like, you've got $2,000 of turnover and 1,900 is on promos. They'll know what you're up to. You know what I mean? So it does pay to be good at some other type of betting other than just promos, but take the cash while you can, man. Like, good on you. If you got banned from it, you did it right. Like,
you did it right. I'm not doing it right because I haven't been banned from it, but my account is my account looks nice if you're working for a bookie, right? Because not only do I put all my own bets in, which win and lose, right? But also, and you know this, as I purchase tips from heaps of different tipsters over time just to see what's out there, what are they doing, who's legit, who isn't. And I'm placing a lot of those bets. So if you look at my account, it's like this person's not robbing the bookies in any way, shape, or form. So I'm touching a bit of everything. I don't think it's possible for me to get promo banned because I'm playing everything out there.
I think So if they looked at your total turnover, it might be say it's 10,000 back. It might be $100,000. Let's say just randomly. Like you can pick up the figures, and if that 100,000 only like 10,000's on promo markets, then you why are they going to ban you?
Yeah.
Because if it was 100,000 turnover and 100,000 of it was on promos, they know they'll know what you're up to. They're pretty sharp, though. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. Let's talk a bit more about, I guess, your process. So EJ Ladd's got a question out there. It's similar to one of the ones I was going to ask you. So what's the process that you go through when you put an NBA multi on? And I guess what are some of the things that you take into consideration?
Sweet. So a real key thing that I look at is there's some really sharp punters in the world that bet on sides and totals and sides, totals, handicaps. So like I don't really try to beat them, to be honest. Local basketball, I'll do it because I know very, very well what guys and women are capable of because I just know, like, do you know what I mean? From playing them around and this and that. But in terms of, the NBA, like compared to the very best punters, I don't. But what I can find out and know about is player props. So that's what I try to focus on. EJ, my process would go something like this. I just try to ask a question like, what is this person capable of? Like what can they do? Okay. And the thing I find most important is their last 10 games. So their last 10 games, their role, then like an overall form. That could be their last 100 to 300 games. Like what kind of player are they? And then the context, like is it a back-to-back game? Are they home? Are they away? Who's their matchup? Who are they playing against? And who's in and out for their team? So those are, some factors to put on top. But the first factor that I look at is like, what does this person normally do? Like, what are they capable of? Like, so that's how I can find things where, this was one of my best bets was Dylan Brooks. I think it was like 25 points, under 3 rebounds, under 3 assists, and I was paying like 200 something to 1. But I'd seen the guy play. Like he gets buckets a lot, and he doesn't necessarily pass or rebound as much. All right, so I think this was my biggest ever one. It was like $30,000, but I knew it was maybe a 1 in 20 chance, but I was paying 250 to 1. I think I put 200 on. Oh wait. Well, it was paying big odds, 150 to 1, 200 on, something like that. But I figured out I should have been paying like 20 to 1 because number one, I'd seen the guy, but number two, I looked through the game logs of how many times he actually scored 20 without passing or rebounding, and there was a lot. And it was. Have you seen Dylan Brooks play?
Of course, he defends their best player. He puts his head down on offense. He hits the backboard on wide open shots. I know him.
I saw that one. I saw that was beautiful. No, but that was on the last second shot.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Don't be like that to him. That was today. Dylan Brooks. He's got a special
He's a
place.
dog. He's a dog. I like him.
Yeah, he's a dog. But pretty much, I knew. I had a concept of how he plays, and then I knew the data. But yeah, the first question I ask is what is this person capable of? Like, and even if they haven't done something like they've never scored 40, like what would it take for that to happen? So sort of like a scientist, they ask they ask questions and then they try to prove or disprove it. Like I'll go through that, and then like a little bit of imagination if it's like something just, or if it's too off the wall, I'll just chuck it in the bin. I wouldn't back it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like. Now, what is this person capable of? And then I can look at the last 10 games, last 100, last 300 games, and then put on those factors of context. Like, and I'll give different weightings to, what I think is more important and what I think is less important. So, but I do think the most recent form is the most important. So, like, their last 10 games, for example. That's what I think, anyway. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I guess I've got a similar approach. I dive deep into the data, but it's easy to get lost. So I kind of step back, and sometimes I refuse to look at odds until I already have the line set in my mind. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even look at a player's line. I think about what can this person do today, type of thing. And then I go see if the lines justify what I'm thinking. Sometimes, I think I think of taking a bet, then I jump in and I'm like, the bookie's already got the line higher than I thought. So I'm like, I'll step back because they're considering something else. But yeah, it's easy to get lost in the data. I notice You know, a lot of people just look at recent form,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why that form is that way, like their minutes, their usage rate, who they're playing, their matchups, where they play, you know, their field goals attempted. Sometimes some people shoot 70% over 3 or 4 games. Doesn't mean they're going to keep shooting at that percentage.
Yeah, that's the context, right? That's the context.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, because if everyone knew what to do, then the lines would be really accurate. Just like the same as how the head-to-head lines are really accurate, but there's more space to attack in those player props. Probably a negative might be that you can't get on at a like as big a stake. Like you're not. It's just going to spin and then reject. But yeah, like, but other than that, it's an easier market to attack. Like even if you're thinking of it that way, like you're like, oh, I like this guy for 20, you know, blah blah blah. But he's been hot the other 3 games, and then there's lines like 25. Then you know, oh, I can probably bet the under here. You know, it like you said, when you get to the market, depends what it opens at, but like you know, as long as you stay flexible and don't think, oh, this has to be this way, then I think you're going to make the most of it. Like, for example, there's like players that are really good that I like backing the under, and people think, oh, that's like crazy, you know. But like Jokic, I'll back Jokic for the under quite often, especially if it's like a higher number, 26, 27, 28, because he's very unselfish. He could score 30 every game if he wanted. So people see that and they think, oh, he's going to, because he can, he will. But that's not the case. He's a very good passer, reads the game, and he's just going to make the right play. So even though he could score 30 every single time, and I don't think there's many matchups that could stop him from that if he really put his mind to it. A lot of the time, he's not going to. He's going to go under, and he's going to go over assists and rebounds. And that's a bet that I like to take. And then if the matchup data says to back over and go under assists, then I'll do that too. Like, I'll just stay flexible as whatever. And for the most part, I think he's going to rebound. Like, I don't really like backing under rebounds for Jokic, unless it's like a 13.5 number. Like, but I sort of know the numbers. Like when I look at it, I'm like, roughly like what I think it should be.
Yeah,
just based on what's already happened and what I think is going to happen this day coming up.
One thing I guess I like to do with player props is sometimes you go through the data, right? You go through the data and you've got recent form, good. Form against his team, good. Playing at home, good. Playing all the minutes, usage rates high, good. Sometimes I'm like, that's too good to be true. I'm fading it because if an average Joe can find that as easy as I could, all right, I'm fading it. And perfect example is Joel Embiid today. Everyone was talking about 40 and 15. Like I had a little bit on it, 40 and 15, but I was like, this is too good to be true. He scored 40 against Indiana too many times. We had 40 the game before, and I was like, I'm fading this.
To be honest, I liked it. I liked 40, man, but because I just didn't think anyone could defend him. And I think at $8, it was still a fair bet. Okay, if we think about the opening line, Joel Embiid scored 40 against Celtics. I think it was like 12 or something up that way. I had a little bit of money on that. Like, that's probably a better bet. But against Indiana, it's not a terrible bet at 8 because the matchup dictates that who's going to defend him. You know, he didn't play well himself. Like, but
and
like
that's what I thought the concern was. I remember talking about it in the Discord. Everyone's like, "Yeah, but who's going to stop him?" And I was like, "Himself."
Yeah. Like, I don't think he's. To me, he hasn't looked in great shape. But Harden's looking good, man. Harden's looking like slimmed down. He's got the step. Same as Dame Lillard. He looks to be back to his best. And I enjoy that. I'd rather see Harden playing well than playing like not so.
Oh well. yeah, 100%. I took Harden for a triple double today. 1 rebound short, which is heartbreaking. I think even for 10 rebounds, I think it was $5.50. You know,
he's fell just because I've been on it a few times. 10-10 on 365. That's a free tip. It'll usually get you better odds than triple double on most other books. So just shop that. Go into the 365 same game multi and put in 10 assists, 10 rebounds, and just check because quite often it will be if you think a guy's going to get a triple double. Quite often, just doing those two leagues
It's
in
better
that
than triple
multiplier
double
will be
alone.
better than triple double on most of the books.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of the time.
Yeah. You just got a line shop around. You'd be surprised at what you find.
Yeah.
We've got another question for you, T, and this is something that I was going to ask you. Some of your favorite websites for data analysis. So on my stream I did last week, I shared what I like to use. But where do you get your data from?
Dawson Estate Agents. All right, man. I'll give you some good stuff, and you tell me where you go for your best real estate valuations. All right. I like Basketball Reference. So that's got
all the historical data.
All the historical data, like Basketball Reference, ESPN.com. I also check NBA.com. They have an injury report. It comes out every hour. What else? StatMuse. There's this thing called StatMuse, and you can put in questions. Like, what I like about using StatMuse is for context sort of questions, like what is Tatum like without Brown on the Celtics, or what is Brown like without Tatum, and then it can give you those two sets of games. And there's another tool that I use that can just sort of identify how many times a player's done this specific line. I can just type it all in, and it will find out for me. So I do that, but it's the data's all, like, none of the data that I have is like second spectrum or something. I just watch a lot of basketball and then memorize what happened, and then I think, this guy can't defend that guy. But yeah, so all the data is out there. So Basketball Reference, that's a good one. ESPN. There's this one, hashtag basketball. So that's got like defense versus position sort of data. StatMuse is really good for questions. So that's 4 that you could use. And then,
That's awesome. Yeah, mine was much of the same. I use all those as well. I got this wide ass monitor I bought a couple months ago, knowing NBA was coming, because I needed to have screens upon screens, and I use a lot of those as well. So, and I love StatsMuse, especially when you're getting specific, like how many threes Kuzma normally make if he scores 18 points.
You can ask really specific questions. But there's this another one on, a bit deeper on Basketball Reference. You can ask it questions too, like you can get it to bring up a list of Kuzma games with 27 and 4 threes, something like that. You can get it to bring up whatever. You can even get it to bring up like, all the shots made in the first quarter kind of thing. If you want to deep dive into like betting those player props, there's like ways to find that out. Yeah.
And on Basketball Reference, you can export the data too if you want to play around with Excel.
Exactly. Like that's exactly how you can do it yourself. Like, you can export a player's entire game log and then just find all the times he went 20 points with 12 rebounds, for example. And then you can like look to yourself, he can do that, or no, he doesn't. He's not capable of that very often.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's awesome. Hope you guys took notes on that one. Your next question for you, T. I notice you regularly bet on certain players. What draws you to these players? Is it consistency, predictability, etc.?
Just wherever the opportunity is. Te Heringa, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You have a better chance than I do of reading that. So.
Te Heringa, Tahere Williams. Yeah. So players where I think there's some value. Okay, so that could be a brand new player where they say there's injuries and a guy, he's stepping up, he's going to see big minutes, and I think the book has him a little low. I'll back that guy. But there's guys like, for example, we're betting on Fred VanVleet every game this season. The book's been put in his line out at like 16.5 and 17.5 points and 5.5 assists. It's too low for him. He's already got 3 years of data showing that he's capable of hitting those lines really consistently, like over a 40% rate, and they're giving $3 for that bet. So the only reason to say he wouldn't is if he's not going to play the minutes. But he's going to play the minutes because the coach, Nick Nurse, really trusts him and plays him 38 minutes a game.
He plays like 7 players.
Exactly. And the other part of it is to say, he's not going to be involved in the offense as much because Scotty Barnes is going to take over, which, could happen. But either way, even when he's not the guy with the ball, he's still sort of doing other stuff. He's a really good and just involved player. So that's a consistent player. That's just pretty steady. And then predictability, like there's certain players that are predictably unpredictable, like they just randomly go off, like Dylan Brooks, for example. That Dylan Brooks bit where it was like high points, almost no rebounds, almost no assists. So for any other player, that might be, a 1 in 200 chance. But for him, it's like a 1 in 20 chance. But the book still treated it as if it was a 1 in 100 or 1 in, you know what I mean? So, yeah, there are some players, certain players, what draws you to these players? Just opportunity, really. And wherever I think the value is, regularly bet on certain players. Yeah, and if I got a feel for what I think a certain player is capable of, and certain guys have like, special numbers. Like there's special numbers that guys hit regularly. Okay, so I'll give out one as Marcus Smart, 5 or 6 assists. Okay, so he averages 5, I think maybe let's say 6, but he hardly ever gets 4, and he hardly ever gets 10. It's real specific special numbers for certain guys. So if the line is ever set too high or too low, I think that can be a good anchoring point to start a same game multi. Yeah, but it's not the same for everyone. Like some, if you're familiar with that curve, like a bell curve or a distribution, some players are like just exactly like a bell, and others are like. It doesn't like model like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, there is some players are consistent and predictable, and others are like predictably unpredictable.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
No, I get that. I got a question around the stakes. How do you know how many units to throw at a bet? Is it a feel, or do you have specific guides saying if it's at this odds, throw this many units?
There's like staking methods that you can use. So one is called the impact staking method. So basically, you'll just bet to make a certain amount of money if the bet gets up. That's the impact staking method. So let's say I was trying to win $1,000, and a bet was paying 5 to 1. I would bet $200. Right? That's the impact staking method. And then there's another method called the Kelly's criterion. I wouldn't be able to break it down right here on the video, but basically the better the bet against the odds, that determines that you do a bigger bet, right? That's basically how that one works. And then there's unit betting, so you could use a 100 unit bankroll or a 200 unit bankroll, 400 unit, 50 unit bankroll. Depends how aggressive you want to be, I guess.
Yeah.
That would probably relate well back to that first question. Someone they're trying to build their way up a little bit. You might want to recommend like a 50 unit bankroll. Like, take your $500 and split it down into $10 bets. I mean, go from there.
Oh, that's a good tip, man. I guess, are there any other tips that you wanted to share?
Wow, that's it, man. Just, have fun. Enjoy the show. And, yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right, it's getting late, baby. And I still got to research tomorrow's game. So
me too.
With that, T, I want to thank you for coming on. You've been an amazing guest. It's probably clear. It's the most live views that I've seen in one of my videos. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing the link. I know this won't be the last time I see you on here. We might talk NBA player props a couple of times a week. Who knows? But I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure a lot of the viewers, and especially the people in the Discord, are too.
Hey,
so thank you for
thanks
coming
for having
on,
me, bro. Thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate it. I love talking about betting and basketball. And thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So if you want to see T and all the work that he does, the Telegram link is in the link of this video. If you want to join the free Discord that we have, which T's also a part of as well, feel free to jump in. The link for that's down below as well. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and thank you for everyone who dropped a comment and a question. We'll catch you. Peace.
See ya.
Y'all motherfuckers when they get some free tips, best bets, go ahead and flex some. Pick winners all the time, hit it on a daily. This is all free, you don't need an